Parkour! Parkour!
Parkour!
I'm right behind you, Andy! Come on!
Do it!
Yeah! Parkour.
It's said that truly good TV shows age like fine wine, but even with the series as masterfully done as The Office, there has been a few moments on the show that has left us with our jaws dropped, sometimes with laughter, sometimes out of pure shock. In today's video, we will be counting down 10 scenes in The Office that shocked everyone. If you haven't done so already, take a brief moment to click that like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with new content. With all that being said, let's start the countdown. If there's one thing you don't do at a wedding, it's to make it about yourself. Of course, Michael just can't help himself. After Phyllis says "I do," Michael breaks from the groomsmen to loudly announce the marriage, only to be greeted by confused looks and a horribly painful silence. And just when we thought that we couldn't cringe any harder, the officiant repeats the process to Bob, and not even Michael can handle the embarrassment. Of course, that doesn't stop him from repeating it again after Bob says "I do." And then he makes a horrific speech, and what was already a terribly weird wedding turns disastrous. This episode is just too much to handle.
Devotion and attention, and of course, sexual relation.
Poor Kevin. You just can't help but feel bad for the poor, pitiful man. In one of the show's greatest cold opens, Kevin talks about how he spent all night studiously cooking chili for The Office only to drop it all over the floor. It's a brilliant bit of editing as Kevin's panicking and looks of utter desperation are juxtaposed with his prideful boasting. Of course, the show has to take the scene one step further, and Kevin starts slipping in the spilled chili. He is just so pathetic it hurts. Forget Jim saying goodbye to Michael or Pam crying over her broken dreams. This is the saddest moment in The Office.
The onions. Everybody is going to get to know each other in the pot. I'm serious about this stuff. I'm up the night before.
We're glad they toned down Michael's obnoxious behavior for season 2, because season 1 Michael's just unbearable. Take for example the entire Diversity Day episode. The whole thing was an absolutely horrible idea, but it culminates in one of Michael's most punchable moments. Once Kelly shows up from a meeting, Michael approaches her and begins a terribly racist tirade that leaves Kelly and the rest of the office in utter shock and disbelief. We watch as Kelly's face goes from happy to furious, and it culminates in a totally warranted slap to the face. Even if you adore Michael, you have to admit that he was a total jerk.
9 cents plus tax! Try my googie googie! Try my googie googie! Try my googie googie! Try my...
And here we see Meredith go from sexually promiscuous to full-on harassing. It's a little awkward to say the least. Meredith's fractured pelvis leaves her with a crotch cast, and naturally she wants Jim to sign it. And of course, Jim is too nice to say no. John Krasinski is fantastic in this scene as he naturally and hilariously switches from openly polite to politely uncomfortable once Jim realizes what Meredith wants. And once the painful deed is finished, he looks utterly shell-shocked, clearly disturbed with what he has just been put through. When it comes to reacting to uncomfortable situations, nobody can do it like John Krasinski.
You need a ride?
Season 3's Gay Witch Hunt is arguably one of the most unbearable episodes of The Office. It's up there with Phyllis's wedding and Diversity Day, that's for sure. After using a derogatory term and accidentally outing Oscar to The Office, Michael hosts a seminar, we guess we could call it, on homosexuality. And to make Oscar feel welcomed, Michael kisses him on the lips. Yeah, while his intentions were good, the kiss was wildly inappropriate, and it only makes the dicey situation that much worse. This scene also proves that Steve Carell had a firm grasp on his character, as the kiss was totally improvised. You can even tell by Oscar's legitimately surprised reaction. Good on him for staying in character.
I did it.
Michael's infatuation with Carol is one of the show's most wince-inducing storylines, and it provided some of the most gloriously uneasy scenes in the show's history. Like this complete abomination of a proposal, not only does Michael interrupt the Diwali celebration, he also refers to himself as a gringo and singles out Carol, who is inappropriately dressed as a cheerleader, thanks to Michael. It's problematic enough before the actual proposal, and the whole thing is just a recipe for disaster. The tension explodes when Michael proposes, as Carol rejects him by wishing to talk to him in private, storming off in embarrassment. Rejected public proposals are always painful to watch, and even though this is fiction, we can't help ourselves from cringing in discomfort.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Forget Carol, Michael's entire dating life pre-Holly was just one big mess. For example, he knowingly dated Pam's mother and then broke up with her during her own birthday lunch. That understandably caused some friction in the office, but perhaps the most horrible and funniest dating snafu comes in season 4's chair model. Pam sets Michael up on a blind date with her landlady, and Michael obviously expects a 10 out of 10 bombshell. But when Michael spots his homely date, he grows visibly distraught and even feigns total ignorance when she approaches. Funnily enough, it actually seems to work, until the barista blows it up in Michael's face. The following 15 seconds of silence are pure torture, and we love it. It's delectable office cringe.
It's kind of too bad we're not coming into work tomorrow.
Why?
I bet Michael had some elaborate theme party planned, like scrambled eggs Saturday.
Like,
Alright viewers, be warned. We have left the humor behind and have now entered into the excruciating part of the list. And what better way to start that off than with Toby affectionately touching Pam's leg. Everything about this scene makes us squirm, from the way the camera zooms in to Toby's hand to everyone's look of total disbelief to the unpleasant silence following the action. The situation is so awkward that Toby literally runs away, and really, we would too if we could.
so I'm just gonna hop the fence and jog home now.
Michael and Jan's dinner party is the stuff of nightmares. Jim, Pam, Andy, and Angela all go over to Michael's place for dinner, and what results is the most agonizing 20 minutes ever put on television. Things start off weird as we see the ridiculous sleeping arrangements, sex camera, and Michael's hilariously small TV, which he is forced to stand in front of. But then things go off the rails with Jan's intimate song, Michael's attempt at scamming Jim and Andy, and Jan destroying Michael's $200 TV. It's said that the actors had a difficult time filming this episode, and we can see why. It's absolutely hilarious, but it's probably one of the hardest things we've ever had to watch.
That is sort of an oaky afterbirth.
What was that?
So, music? Should we turn some...
We don't think it's possible to watch Scott's Tots all the way through. It's just a little too much. 10 years earlier, Michael promised a group of underprivileged children that he would pay for their college tuition if they graduated high school. Now is the time to make good on the promise, and Michael doesn't have the money. Cue the unbearable tension as Michael finds a way to break the news to the elated teenagers. To make matters worse, he offers an appeasement with laptop batteries. This episode ventures into full-on unpleasantness, and we challenge anyone to watch it without looking through their fingers. It's a masterpiece of cringe comedy.
Would be by the time I was 30, but I wasn't even close. And then I thought maybe by the time I was 40, but by 40 I had less money than when I was 30. Maybe by my 50s.
Thanks for sticking around and counting down our list of 10 scenes in The Office that shocked everyone. If you don't want to miss any more cringeworthy moments just like this, hit that like and subscribe. Once again, thanks, and we'll see you next time.